So it looks like we were given wrong information before once again, as now we are actually casting Iowa State Varsity against Redbird Academy. So, you know, I think I made my casting debut casting Iowa State Varsity. So good to cast them again.
Do you think Varsity has this against Redbird?
I mean, from what we saw, I think they might just say Buckethead go kill and just send him out there. So we will see. Looks like we are going to see the Eureka comp once again from Redbird Academy, and Iowa State Varsity is going to be running Winston, Soj, and probably Tracer from Liftkey. You tend to not see Sim ran very often at all.
Tracer on a Lou, I think.
Yep, just TP out of spawn, swap the Tracer. There we go. It looks like Iowa State Varsity is going to take high ground control just to get buckets set up there. Because they are running Winston dives, they will try and catch somebody out, but Redbird Academy isn't going to have a lot of people caught out, especially since they're running Cassidy over Sojourn, is now Iowa State is kind of taking control. High ground, Spike does kind of jump over to the central pillar, just kind of poking out right now. Looking up at them as Liftkey and Sam are on the flank going through. Recall is forced, but nade does come out from Vintage. Vintage does clean up. Sam is now going through. The Spike is just struggling high ground, but does give up point to Redbird Academy. As now just left shooting Nova, and Winston does not do anything through Risa. As now just goes back to high ground, gets healed up by Otters. Redbird does not want that smoke and is not jumping out. Up there as a lift has reunited up with Exit Sam, as now they're just going through, taking that flank angle, trying to force anybody else with Spike and jump on them. Avengers is just still sitting there with his revolver, just shooting.
Lou almost has pulse.
That was coming close. Hinder does come out, connect on the Buckethead, but no kills followed up. Bucket is also on the central pillar lift, but Spike does get forced out. And Bets is back to get healed. Alu does pick up with the kill on the Otter. As now just going through. Recall is for some Alu, but Spike is already down, and as Nova does kill Liftkey. Going through, does kill Sam, and now going through, cleaning up Buckethead. But Iowa State is coming up on both support ults and pulse bomb. While Redbird Academy already has pulse, almost has noon, has window, and is 80% towards that sound barrier, 90% towards Terror Surge. That's a lot of ults. Iowa State maybe has maybe 2 fights. Probably really only one here. Because setting up diving and Cerisa comps does take a while. Zalu is on the high ground looking for an angle in to drop the pulse bomb. Spectad is about half right now. Can he get healed up in time? Looks like he is going to be healed as Liftkey's on the flank with the pulse bomb. Otter does die, but does get the Katsuni rush off as going through.
Lou gets the pulse on bucket.
Yep, as now Liftkey does kill Dr. Death, but there's still up one. Pulse bomb does come out, does not connect. Goes through, gets forced out by Alu. High noon and sound barrier come out from Redbird Academy as now they just zone Iowa State off point. B comes out from exit. Sam goes through. Spike does have the primal. Is on shuffle. Goes through. Pops primal. Chases shuffle. Cannot catches. Gets the kill. Goes through. Alu is one. Vintage does roll into the primal. Goes through. Hinders Spike. Goes through. Gets Liftkey does kill 2.
Good point.
Yep. And importantly, Iowa State did hold on to the overclock, and Redbird does not have a sound barrier to deal with it. All they have is amplification matrix, which it's a good ult, but
do you think they can hold this?
Do this.
With
I mean,
overclocking.
They kind of have to. Buckethead does need to go big with that. Let's go through, kind of just force Spike out. Spike does get one, does jump out. Bubble is popped. Goes through, amplification matrix out. Overclock is out. Alu does kill Liftkey. Just doesn't want to peek the cast amplification matrix. Goes through. Sam does kill a shuffle as Vintage does get the kill on the Otter. That's a lot of healing gone from Iowa State. As Alu does get the kill onto Bucket. As Redbird Academy does take control of point again. Go through, Spike jumps in just to keep the point going. Goes through. Alu does have the pulse bomb. Spike does jump out. Sam kind of juggling that point, keeping overtime going. As Alu trying to line up the pulse. Lift does go in. Recall does get forced. Goes now kind of just blinking around. Alu still has the pulse bomb. Looking at Sam. Can he get the kill out? Nope. And then Spike does get the kill on Dr. Death, but they just forget about point, and Redbird Academy takes the round.
I feel like dive is a good against that comp against this map.
It's just hard because jumping into Cassidy is not fun because he can just blow up Winston so well, and now we're heading over to University, which is the worst one out of the three for a dive. So we'll see if Iowa State runs Winston dive again, which might be their best comp because Spike is a really good Winston player. But it's just so hard to play Winston dive into Orisa cast, especially on University. There's just really nowhere for you to stage your dives from. Like, that's the one thing City Center offers you, is a lot of high ground to do that. So we'll see how Iowa State adapts, as both teams are going to sim TP out of spawn and then swap over to the Tracer. Iowa State does get control of high ground first, as it is, I mean, they need it much more. Recall is forced from lift key as they go through, and they do, as it does get Spirit off the side. As I know Sam and Lift are kind of just trying to take a Tracer duel, going through, or to get Tracer duel against Allard, get a nice 2v1 action going, make it a lot easier. As Vintage is sitting in the mini room by the lecture hall, just going through. Spike does jump in, does get forced out by the javelin spin, kind of bullies him out of there. Spike is one, and Nova does clean up the kill.
And there goes Sam.
Yep, Allie does get the kill on Sam, and now they're just going on high ground. Allie's just trying to clean up, corral them all so Vintage can get the kill onto Bucket and cleans up Otter. Now it's just Lift Key. Recall is for us. Both can Lift Key does get out. But does he get out enough? No, he does not. As Valulin shepherds him into Vintage's LOS to just get that easy kill.
Do you think Varsity can hold point or win this? Or
I mean, they're gonna need to get it. They need to get an opening pick. Like, Buckethead needs to hit the rail he has right now.
I feel like a pick on Alu or Vintage would be the best, or Tank. Whatever.
No, if you're Bucky, you're hoping for a headshot onto Dr. Death, get like that quick kill. As rail does come out, does miss, still kind of juggling high ground. Spike is in right now, trying to force attention. Lift Key does win the Tracer duel onto Alu and just gone through. But Spike does jump out and is waiting to get healed back up. Otter does have that Kitsune rush. Window does come out from Dr. Death. A Spike does jump across. It does get to pick up the kill onto Nova, and they might get a clean fight win without using any ults, which is really big. Vintage with a headshot kill onto Otter, which is not good because Spike is only half health right now. Which is another kill onto Lift. Buckethead does pop the overclock to flip it, does kill Vintage. Goes through, kills Dr. Death. Alu does kill Sam. After Sam, Lucio gap shuffle goes through. Now juggling around. But Alu runs down Bucket and Spike can't save him in time. Go through, and Spike go primal time. Senior Rush does come out from Otter as he is back in the fight now. Spike just going through. Pulse Bomb connects onto Nova, gets the kill. So Iowa State does hold on the point, but they did have to use Kitsune Rush there, and I don't think they wanted to use that.
And it's 3 ults, 2.
Yeah.
So Iowa State used 3?
They did use 3. And Redbird Academy only used 1. As now Spike does have the primal, so we'll see him set up for that. Maybe go for an aggressive dive, as Redbird Academy does go back in the mini room. Spike does draw Nova's attention, goes through. The rest of Redbird Academy successfully rotated through, and the map is flipped right now. As they're going through, still looking for that opening. Redbird Academy doesn't really want to leave the room, and Iowa State Varsity does need to go in. Goes through. Sam does kill Shuffle, but Alu does stick Sam with the post. High Noon does come out from Vintage. Try and force Spike back in the primal, but he draws it as Buckethead kills Dr. Death, but Alu kills too. As Spike does get the primal kill onto Vintage. Alu is one right now, but he decides to jump onto the Orisa instead. Buckethead with the rail goes through. Soundberry does come out from Sam. Shuffle mirrors it as Nova does have the Terror Surge, but Buckethead almost has another overclock.
Yeah, Alu
has killed Alu, gets jumped by Shuffle. Buckethead slides out as Lift Key finishes that kill. And now just Nova keeping control of point for Redbirds. Vintage does get the kill on Sam, but Spike and Lift Key jump Dr. Death. Overclock is popped by Buckethead, kills Vintage. Goes through, Nova is one. Nova does die, but Alu finally kills the terror that is Buckethead. As he's just doing so much with these overclocks. Now we are headed into the last fight for this round. As right now, Iowa State does have control of point. Redbird Academy has the Terror Surge and is coming up on a amplification matrix. Iowa State only has a post bomb, and they might build a Kitsune Rush.
Do you think Varsity can hold this?
I do think they can. Post bomb comes out from Lift, doesn't get anything, but it does get the opening pick onto Vintage, as this might be the opening that Iowa State needs. As they go through, Otter does almost have the Kitsune Rush. Information comes out from Dr. Death. Buckethead does kill Dr. Death. As Spike is trying to stay alive through a Matrix, but just can't. Kitsune Rush does come out from Otter. As Nova does kill Spike, but Lift does kill Shuffle. Lift now going through, kind of getting Nova 1. Sam does get Alu, as now Buckethead gets another, finishes off Nova, as now all that's left is Vintage, and Sam gets that kill. Yeah, that looked much better from Iowa State as their dives were more coordinated, and Buckethead was finally remembered that he can click heads. And Sam and Lift were just a dynamic duo going through. Just winning the Tracer duel more often than not, because one side had 2 and the other side only had 1, as Shuffle can't really leave the Baptiste, or Dr. Death kind of just gets jumped and insta-killed. Here we are seeing Buckethead flip the fight here with that overclock. Just key 2 picks, and if that fight was a huge momentum changer, as it just kind of, it seemed to bring life back into Iowa State's gameplay, as they just seem so much more dynamic after that fight, as we are out now, both teams running the same comps they were before, as our production is on some NA production going on right now, as we're going through Buckethead. Iowa State does have control of the high ground. We'll see if Redbird can force them off. As they go through, Alu does get the kill on the Lift, but Vintage is low and alone. Goes through, Otter does get that kill, but Alu with another kill onto Sam as Shuffle kills Spike, Bucket kills Alu, evening it out as much as possible, but they're down their tank as Dr. Death goes to take the duel with Bucket, then reconsiders that decision. Pushes Dr. Death and gets the finishing kill. As that might be, as Iowa State did get control of the point there, so now they're just ticking up that percentage. And they're already at 20%, and the first fight is still going on as Redbird Academy decides they want to take it again. As Nova is close to the Terror Surge and now he does have the Pulse Bomb, but Otter already has that Kitsune Rush.
Bucket almost has
Overclock. I didn't even think to look at that, because normally Sojas take a while to build that.
98. Pop at this fight.
As the Pulse Bomb does come out from Alu, does not connect. Kitsune Rush out from Otter, just kind of along the high ground, as Iowa State uses that to push up onto Redbird Academy. And now they're just going through Otter, keeping his team alive. Window does come out from Spike. Vintage uses that to get 2 quick kills onto Spike and then Bucket, as Nova then finishes up Sam. And now Alu's just trying to pick up some extra kills here, stagger out some people. Looks like he does get the kill onto Otter, but Lift Key does get out. Iowa State did get up to 56%, and they do have both DPS ults, and they are coming up on that sound barrier, but Alu almost has another Pulse Bomb, and they have High Noon and Terror Surge. And they will have sound barrier too, in this. Bucket or Lift get a really quick pick onto Shuffle here. As now Vintage does decide to drop to low ground. Goes through, Overclock comes out from Bucket, and Pulse Bomb comes out from Lift. So far, no kills. Spike does jump in. High Noon and Sound out from Vintage. Bucket does kill Vintage and Dr. Death, but Sam does decide to mirror the Sound Barrier. Goes through. Nova is low, but only Lucio healing. Won't be enough to keep him alive. Bucket does get the... Finally finish that up. Spike does kill Alu with a nice melee. But all Iowa State Varsity has right now is that Primal Rage. But Redbird Academy is not looking too much better with just the Pulse Bomb and the Terror Surge, and Otter's already 60% towards another Kitsune Rush. Probably see that built this fight, as Otter's now building him so quickly. Iowa State now at 75%. Alu applying point pressure. Of course, Mirror. Vintage does get the kill onto Bucket. Goes through, recall is forced from Alu. Still looking for that Pulse Bomb. Nova does kind of just bully everyone off of high ground. Goes through, Pulse Bomb comes out from Alu onto... misses onto Sam. Primal does come out from Spike, and he is having a blast right now. Hinder into the Terror Surge as Vintage finally cleans up that kill. Nova does kill Otter. And still just juggling point, and they recap, but Iowa State already up to 96%. They just need to win one more fight, and they take the map, as they do have the Kitsune Rush now, and Redbird Academy doesn't have anything, and Liftkey coming up on that Pulse Bomb.
Do you think Varsity can get this point?
I do think they will. They have a big ult advantage here. They just have to capitalize on it and hopefully push before Dr. Death can build that amplification matrix. But they do have to force Nova off of high ground at some point. As Tracer Duel does come out, recall is forced from both Tracers. As Spike does jump to high ground. Big boop out from Sam onto killing Nova, and Alu killing Lifty. Kitsune Rush does come out from Otter.
Bucket's down.
Vintage kills Bucket. High Noon comes out. From Vintage, everyone just jumps out. Spike does kill Shuffle. But Alu and Dr. Death evening it up by killing both supports. As now we are heading to the last fight for the map, and Iowa State only has Pulse and maybe Sound Barrier. I mean, might be able to build Overclock. Lift Key goes through, triggers OT. As now kind of just backs out, still looking for an opening for a Pulse Bomb. Window does come out from Dr. Death. Lift Key is forced out, just grabs Mega. Iowa State just decides not to peek the window as they go through. Sam is one, does successfully get the Sound Barrier off. And use that overhealth advantage just to kill Alu. Pulse Bomb does come out onto Vintage, does force Lamb. But no kills from it, and then Vintage does kill Otter. Sound Barrier comes out from Shuffle, goes through. Spike is still just struggling point. Overclock comes out from Bucket. He has to go big with this. Headshot to Vintage, doesn't get the kill. Finally cleans it up, slides through, kills one. Can he get the second? Gets two. Going through. Now it's just Shuffle and Nova, and now they're...
No, it's Bucket.
Another primal from Spike goes through, kind of forces Shuffle away. Goes through now, it's just kind of swinging around, trying to get any kill. Shuffle does kill Otter. Nova is one. Spike does pick up that kill, and Shuffle just runs right into the Tesla. Can goes through. Spike kills three.
That's point Varsity.
Iowa State Varsity does take the map. Very hard fought 2-1 win from them. They could have gone either way at the end there. It's just a bunch of key picks coming in from Bucket on like those 2 kills there allow them just to snowball through. They're seeing play the game from Vintage as he's just going through. That kill on the Spike goes through. It's really allowed him to get the map and almost take that fight win the whole way. But Iowa State did go through, did successfully take back that point, and looks like our hometown heroes get that 1-0 lead in the series.
And this one's supposed to 5?
It's best of 5, so first to 3.
First to 3. Best of 5.
So it looks like now we will see hybrid indexes. The map order for best of 5s tends to be control, hybrid, flashpoint, push, escort. But you know, I'm more a fan of push being last because it's just like good final map.
I'm not a big fan of push, so...
Yeah, I mean, it does lead for some exciting games as long as it's not Coliseum. Not a Coliseum fan. As a wise man once said, remove the glass.
I think it'd be funny to add more glass.
Yeah, that's actually what I'm like too. Maybe make everything but the bot path glass. Just make it like the entire path is like one long, narrow, curving hallway.
Like, get rid of all of the openings, just put glass.
No, I'm talking just line the cart path in glass. Get rid of all flank routes. Just make the entire map meta just be projectile spam down main.
Whole map just one long line.
One long straight line. I see no problems with that. I'm sure Hitscam players would be a fan. Probably no one else. I know, it looks like here we will... I wonder what hybrid map will pick. Looks like Iowa State is much more comfortable on the dive than Redbird Academy is, so we probably... But I think it's hybrid, and a lot of those maps are just, aside from Parisia, are just brawl-centric. I mean, just due to how the maps, I mean, like, Eichenwald's second point tends to be dive, but first and third aren't really. So I look forward to seeing what the map pick is. So how are you enjoying the weather right now, Nathan?
It's cold. Cold outside, supposed to warm up, but it's supposed to storm next week. It was warm last week, but it's getting cold. It's cold for spring.
Yeah. But sometimes, you know, it's kind of nice to, like, just, like, step outside and, like, feel, like, the brisk air.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of cold.
Oh, I am from Phoenix, so I am a fan of the cold. Yeah.
I don't mind the cold, it's just it gets cold.
It is how that works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm more of a fan of the cold because you can always put on more layers, but people tend to frown upon you walking around naked outside in public. It's a tiny bit illegal for, I mean, good reason. Alright, looks like we are headed over to Midtown, as that was Redbird's pick, which is... I mean, it's kind of in the name, and the map is a little bit mid, in my opinion.
What kind of comps do you think we'll see in Midtown?
We'll probably will see Sigma played from both teams here. Sigma Orisa are a common pick on first point and second and third. You do see some dive on second just because of the cart path goes underneath high ground. And then a little bit on third just because like the two high grounds that defenders can use and attackers need a way to kind of push it, but the sightlines are just so long that you do still tend to see like Sig or Orisa poke comps. So head on the first point. Interesting to see if anybody actually uses this train going above choke. Most teams don't, because it is a little bit of a death trap. But we will see. We are 5 seconds out from seeing who everyone is playing. Looks like we are in fact seeing the Orisa brawl from Redbird, and Iowa State is...
Torb Liftkey.
That is with Torb dive, everybody. We are definitely going to see them roll out a spot with that. It looks like they are just going to use the fact that Spike is quite capable on the Winston.
There you go.
And that Tracer makes much more sense than Torb. Alright, so we are seeing slight difficulties because right now Venture is not enabled, so we will see if that changes. And we have our Oh Whoa Oxywash Overdrive Cleaner.
Really zooming in.
We are really zooming in on the Oh Whoa. I was going through, it looks like neither team are really going to run Venture because we're not restarting the map, and well, you can't run Venture if they're not unlocked or enabled. Let's go through now. Both, say Iowa State is trying to set up for a dive, trying to wrap around just to give them room to jump. Academy is just going to let him rotate for now because you don't really want to push into a team rotating or go out of your position. Goes through. Suzu is for some modders. They just use that to cross back into the mega room. So through recall is forced. Liftkey's recall is forced as Buckethead does successfully take high ground, and he's halfway to a full charge rail. Going through, Spike does get picked on the dive as goes through. Is Redhead still looking for a dive? They might have to leave because without Spike, they really have no way to stop Nova from just walking on them, especially Vintage killing Liftkey. As we are seeing Iowa State Varsity just nope out of there. Buckethead does kill Vintage on his way out, and Dr. Death, but then finally gets taken out by Nova. Iowa State Varsity now needs to take a really quick fight here if they want to. They have a chance to take a fight before Dr. Death even gets back. Which means Redbird Academy will have to concede quite a bit of space. This Vintage now rolling out from spawn. Doing some insane Cassidy techs. Not going through. Nova is low. Can they kill them before Dr. Death comes back? No. Lamp does get forced, but Nova is still half health. That's just Javelin spins back, but now Iowa State Varsity has control of point as Alu is looking for a pulse bomb as Buckethead on the off angle. Pulse bomb does come out, but can't get close enough to have it connect as Buckethead does slide away. Iowa State does get one tick, getting close to two. Alu decides to contest point, goes through. Headshot comes in from Otter, forces Alu away. Window comes out from Dr. Death's, but Sam gets a kill into Alu, partially thanks to the Katsuni rush, and Liftkey with the 2K pulse bomb, it kills a third. It's a really nice fight win from Iowa State Varsity. They only dumped 2 ultimates into it, and
I think that pulse bomb was a big help.
yeah, any pulse bomb that kills anything, let alone 2 people, especially a tank, is a good help. As now SC Varsity does use that fight win to take control of the high ground, as Buckethead does have the overclock, and Redbird Academy will have to push into them with that. Or push into that. Buckethead is still kind of just juggling point. Shoots around, misses. Nova does push him. Buckethead just slides away to another high ground. High noon does come out from Vintage, as Iowa State Varsity just does not peek that. And it runs out, and now Vintage is just standing there. Goes through, just kind of rolls. Primal does come out from Spike, uses that to kill Ali with Sam's help. Overclock does come out from Bucket, goes through, just forces Redbird Academy back, and gets a kill onto Shuffle as on the kite out. But Spike is one, does get felled by Dr. Death thanks to a Javelin from Nova, going through. Buckethead still going through, almost has another rail again. See if they can get the pick, as Nova is now just still stopping that car progress.
Varsity almost has beat, and Redbird Academy has 2.
Yeah.
Almost pulse again.
Oh yeah, Otter is coming up another senior rush. Both beats come. Same does come out. Pulse bomb does come out from Alu and gets 2, but the fight was already kind of over, especially being down Sam and Lift. You just have no way to really control off angles.
Just holding high ground.
Yep, Soul and High Ground. Redbird Academy does have the Amplification Matrix and Sound Barrier, and Iowa State only has Sound Barrier, but they are coming up on a Katsuni Rush, and hopefully we see them use that to just push on to high ground. Spike does jump in, try and force abilities, or really anything. Use Bubble to take space. Alu does get the kill on Sam. Matrix does come out from Dr. Death, but Otter with the headshot kill onto Vintage is now. Iowa State just LOS's the window and just decides they'll use that to push card underneath. Dylan's gonna wait. Katsuni Rush does come out from Otter, as both Tracers use recall in the Tracer duel. As I lift in, Aller is still doing that. Outlift Key does have the pulse bomb. Buckethead with another overclock, as they don't really find too much with the Katsuni Rush, but they do get a lot of space as they successfully push card underneath the tunnel. Now Vintage does have the high noon. And team pushes. Beat comes out from Sam and Shuffle as it goes through. Stick comes out from Limp, but just gets blocked by Lamp, and then Otter does kill 2. Vintage and Shuffle, as Lift Key was just pushing point and caps. As in Spike and Lift finally clean everybody up. We'll see if they can catch Alu. Nope, he just decides to change spawns and not stagger himself. As now, State Varsity does have the Primal and the Overclock coming up. And just goes through. Looks like Vintage does have the high ground now with the high noon and is just going through and corralling buckets. Spike does decide doesn't want him up there. Goes through. Overclock does come out, does kill Shuffle. High noon comes out from Vintage, doesn't find anything, it just kind of zones people out. Buck with another just 2 kills without overclock. The Spike still has the Primal on top of Dr. Death, goes through. And can he get out or survive? He does, because Otter just goes through, heals him as Spike backs around the corner. Now he does have the Pulse Bomb, is on Alpha flank right now. Katsuni Rush does come out from Otter and just kind of lets Sam die in front of him. The headshot from Vintage. Primal does come out from Spike, kind of juggling Dr. Death away from the Amplification Matrix, get the kills. Alu does get the kill on Bucket, as now we're just going through. Pulse Bomb comes out from Lift, kills Nova. Pulse Bomb out from Alu, kills Spike, both tanks down. Lift Key does kill Alu, as now Sam is kind of just going through, seeing if he can get any kills, any card progress. Him and Lift, goes through. Lamp comes out from Dr. Death, saves Vintage's life. And Iowa State still, they're still in this. As Otter does come back, does Suzu to keep everybody alive. Dr. Death healing Vintage up.
Do you think they can cap point?
I mean, they still have 2 fights. I think it's possible. They don't have any ultimates right now, but they are coming up on that Sound Barrier. And with how well Buckethead's doing, he should build up an overclock. As if he does kill Alu, we do have to push into high noon. That Spike goes through, Pablo is popped, does go through. Vintage does go Sam with the high noon. Iowa State still pushing that cart, getting that forward progress. As they go through, Shuffle does have the sound barrier. We should see music here. It's Vintage does kill Otter. As Iowa State just decides to back out. Because, I mean, you don't need to take that fight, so why take it? As Spike does have a hell of a lot of ult charge for Otter. Should see Otter get to maybe like 80% here. No, it looks like just 75.
Yep,
Has
80. 2 and almost overclock, and Redbird has beat and almost has Vista and window.
Yep, Otter is coming up in the Kitsune Rush. As Bucket does get the opening pick onto Alu, and that might be enough for them to decide to take this fight. Window does come from Dr. Death Pulse. Gets eaten by Nova. Let's go through. Both teams use ults. Both teams actually use 4 support ults get used here.
That one touches.
And they just get zoned out by the overclock. As you can't really walk into that, especially if it's Buckethead and he's standing inside a Kitsune Rush. Good full cap from Iowa State. 24 seconds remaining, so they cannot force a winner draw situation if Redbird Academy full caps, but
Do you think Varsity can hold Redbird?
I do think they can.
How far do you think Redbird can make it?
I think they won't make it. I think they'll push Cart underneath the tunnel on second point, but they'll lose a fight after that, and they won't be able to get through
So at least
Iowa
second
State's
point.
dive. Yes.
Ready for battle.
It's kind of hard to hold first point on Midtown, especially in team play, because all it takes is one good fight win from the attackers, and with the way the defenders' paths are set up to get back to point, it's really easy to just stuff them in there on either side. Now, just so going through, looks like we are going to see more of the same comms from each team. This sim might just be just to TP him out faster. I doubt we'll see Symmetra over Tracer. Tracer's just so important right now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And then we're going out, rolling through the streets of New York. Yep, sim TP out from spawn. Alu swaps back over to the Tracer. As Redbird Esports kind of goes to take the same pathing that Iowa State did. Kind of wrap around, give him sight lines. Looks like kind of juggling through right now, debating where to go. FP is in the corner. Alu does find him out. Then does get forced out by Exit Sam and Lift. Key, as now they're going through. They successfully get to the Mega Room without losing anybody. But Alu is still taking that Tracer duel, and Sam goes through to clean up. Buckethead kills Shuffle as Shuffle goes to help his Tracer. Alu does kill Lift. Buckethead just slides out. Doesn't want to really deal with Tracer. And this gives him the sideline over point, just kind of shooting through. Spike is low. Only has the jump cooldown. So going through, kind of juggling around. Sitting there, waiting. Goes through Buckethead with the kill on Alu. Spike does go through just to stop Redbird from getting a single tick. Go through, corrals everyone back into the Mega Room. Still doing it. Vintage with the kill onto Otter. Now we should see Spike back up a bit here. That's it. Keep going through. Ramp is forced and broken by Buckethead, as now Iowa State does back out, so they're just going to wait for Otter to come back before fully taking another fight here. And Spike is caught out right now, but they do not chase or really go after him, as now Otter is coming back. Does almost have the Kitsune Rush. Liftkey goes to Juggles Point. Window is popped by Dr. Death. Now healing through, and Iowa State just decides not to push into the window for a desperate fight, as they are coming up on 5 ultimates here, so we should see them win this fight, as Shuffle is nowhere near that sound barrier. So you might even see the rare beat engage from Sam. Going through, Spike kind of just taking space while trying to hold the corner. Nova does successfully force him out. So kind of standing around. Javelin Spin does come out from Nova. The Shuffle is just sitting on heels, trying to catch back up in the ult charge. As Spike does jump in, does take the high ground. Buckethead just waiting to get healed. Kitsune Rush does come out from Otter. Sam with the kill onto Alu. Buckethead taking the high ground, taking the duel against Vintage. Both hit scans just kind of back out. Buckethead does get the kill on Nova, goes through Liftkey, flanking, wrapping around, waiting with Pulse Bomb. This looks like a fight win from Iowa State, and they only use Kitsune Rush, and now they're still holding on to 4 ults. Shuffle is coming up on that sound barrier, and Redbird, I mean, they might build an Amp Matrix to get to 5 ults, but I don't think they want to use 5 ults in one fight.
What ult you should Varsity think, kind of see?
I think we'll see
Oh,
Well, I
it
was going to say
supposed
Pulse Bomb, but looks like we won't be seeing that one. As Spike does go through, Primal will be forced here. As Pops Primal goes after Dr. Deathbeat, does come out from Shuffle. Sam mirrors it. High Noon from Vintage, doesn't find anything. Pulse Bomb from Alu also doesn't find anything. As Iowa State Varsity just backs up. They did use Overclock and also didn't get anything. But Vintage does finally kill Spike, because now all Iowa State has is that Pulse Bomb. As they just decide to back out, wait for Spike, get that health pool advantage, or get that health pool back. Going through, Buckethead peeks the team, gets his head blown off by Vintage, goes through. Lifkey kind of sitting around, has a Pulse Bomb, waiting for an opportunity to use it. As Redbird Academy does successfully push Cart through the tunnel. And are heading the last fight of this point. The Spike jumps in, dodges the spear, but then just gets pulled in front of the BAP window and just by a Terror Surge and just dies. As Pulse Bomb does come out from Lifkey. Does not find a kill as Buckethead just has to slide onto point just to get taken out by Vintage and Shuffle with the late kill onto Lifkey. Looks like
almost holding, hitting High Noon.
Yep, and with 4 minutes to push onto third, it looks like we might see 4 rounds of Midtown. And there's obviously Varsity doesn't have it. I mean, neither team has any else. Otter's coming up on the Casino Rush, and Vintage does almost have the High Noon, but Casino Rush is much better than Noon. The Buckethead 70% towards that Overclock, just going through, poking out. Filter Shot does come out, gets eaten by Nova. Zalu does clean up on that kill onto Spike. And I would say Varsity just kind of backs out. Because you're down your tank, you can't push. And they're ahead of the last corner, and Redbird Academy have 3.5 minutes to push this. As they're going through. Vintage with the High Noon, and Alu with the Pulse Bomb. Casino Rush does come out from Otter. Spike uses that to push up. As they go through, Sam goes through. High Noon comes out from Vintage. As Irisy just throws up a bucket peaks, but Sam and Spike clean up the supports. And now Vintage is low. Lifkey finishes up that kill, as now it's just Alu. As Lifkey kill Nova, and then it's just one Tracer against the world. Now Iowa State Varsity has their slew of ultimates.
But it's 3 minutes. I think Redbird might cap. They get one.
Yes, if they win this fight, they should full cap. But
He has almost all. Oops.
Yeah, but Iowa State Varsity's ult economy is looking so much better as they can dictate the tempo of this fight. Overclock does come out from Bucket. Recall is for some Alu. Versus Spike jumps in. Beat comes in from Shuffle. Sam builds Beat, uses it. Spike uses Primal. As Otter does get that kill into Dr. Death. And Iowa State really need to clean up this fight because they did dump a lot of ults into this. Suzu does come out from Vintage, or from Otter. Uses that to kill Vintage. Buckethead does kill Shuffles. Now it's just Nova and Alu, and they just clean up on Nova. Just leave him alive for a bit. Stagger him out as long as possible.
Blue does kill Lifkey.
Honestly, if you're Redbird Academy, you're not too disappointed with that fight, as all you used was Sound Barrier, and Iowa State used, what, Overclock, Primal, and Beat? Now all they have is Pulse Bomb and coming up on a Katsune Rush. Redbird Academy have Pulse, Terra Surge, and Amp Matrix. It's going through. Buckethead is on the high ground, so Redbird Academy is going to have to rotate up to force him out. As he just slides out to the other high ground. Now he does take Elevator up with the Pulse Bomb. So Pulse Bomb here comes through, doesn't get the kill on Bucket, but to slide out, Buckethead is one, and Alu does clean up that kill. And uses Recall to get out. Pulse Bomb comes out from Lift, doesn't anything, but does force Lamp. Otter does kill Shuffle. Singer Rush does come out from Otter, goes through. He's have to push up, Lift Key, uses a speed boost and extra fire rate to kill Dr. Death and Vintage. As Sam going through, trying to stay alive. Amps heals, gets a kill into Nova, and forces Alu back. Does finally follow Alu, but then Spike cleans up with Redbird Academy only have a minute remaining and only High Noon and Amp Matrix. They don't even have High Noon.
They might just hold them.
They swap to Sojourn. They might build a Pulse Bomb and maybe a Sound Barrier, but I doubt it. All they have to push is this window, and Iowa State, I mean, they might build Beat in this fight. They might be able to use that to flip it as they force Spike back. Spike jumps back in. Goes through, just keeps kind of forcing people away. Is low, just decides to jump out, get healed up by Otter. Buckethead with the kill onto Vintage. And now Iowa State is up, but they're still not going to push out this advantageous position. Spike kind of goes through, take back some of the space. as he forced Redbird Academy back. As Sam does have the sound barrier and Shuffle is only at 70%. But Alu does have the pulse bomb. Buckethead's coming up on another overclock.
Coming up on Primal and pulse bomb.
Yeah.
I think Varsity can hold this.
Oh yeah, especially
2
since
seconds.
all Redbird, they have to get a kill. Alu has to get a kill with this pulse bomb here. Overclock comes out from Bucket, kills Shuffle. Sam does die to pulse bomb, but not before taking out Alu. He's going through.
Oh,
Vintage does kill Bucket, but now it's just Nova eats another pulse bomb from Lift as Spike pops from to stay alive. Otter kills Nova. Now it's Vintage has to get a pick here. He gets Otter. Can he get another one? Does not. As Sam comes back, cleans that up. Spike finishes the job rivaling Dr. Death.
Bucket on top, yeah.
And then that's just another map win for Iowa State. As we are headed into map 3, which is Flashpoint. Going through, it's like that map, like, I think that kind of showed a problem with Midtown. It's like, what, you had 4 minutes to cap third and then you didn't get it, just as defenders can take so many fights there with like all the corners and high grounds and chokes, which is why that map is kind of mid.
Redbird can get 1 more point, or do you think Varsity can just 3-0?
I mean, it's Flashpoint, so it can be really hard to tell just with how momentum based that map is, just because there's no round reset, there's reset ultimates. Personally, I think that Iowa State Varsity will win it, but I think we might be a little bit biased. Because if you couldn't tell, we're both Iowa State fans. But Redbird Academy is putting up quite the fight, as both those maps were really close. As they did push Cart to the last corner, and Iowa State did only have 24 seconds in the time bank remaining, and then Oasis went all 3 rounds. As I know, since Flashpoint is next, will either be Servats or New Junk City. And I mean, I'd rather see Servats played, but if I am Redbird Academy, I'm probably want to pick New Junk City just because Brawl is better on that one than Servasa, just due to the map being a lot of the same stuff without a lot of high grounds aside from maybe 1 or 2 of the points. Versus Servas has a lot of really tight corners and really good places to stage dives from. Whatever it is, I hope it's a good map. Hopefully 4 or 5 rounds, because I do want to cast one match that goes the distance. What are your predictions for Flashpoint?
Really depends on, I guess, the map and the comp, but let's see. Max is 3, right?
Yeah.
So I think at most it might be the way it's heading. I think it might be 3-2.
You think it's 3-2?
Iowa.
And 3-2 Iowa State. I think it's probably going to be 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah, I think that Iowa State is going to cap the 1st, 2nd, and 4th point. That is my guess. But I mean, I was wrong on Midtown. I might be wrong here too. So we will see. Overwatch. We should be heading into the map soon. Alright, so we will be heading into a 5-minute break real quick. So we will not be heading into map soon. I will see you guys in 5 minutes. Alright, looks like I unintentionally spread misinformation, as that was not a 5-minute break.
They said 5 minutes.
But we were told 5 minutes, so like, I don't know. Oh, look at that alligator go. He is swimming. We are on Suravasa, as we are now going through. We do have a sub coming in on the side of Redbird Academy as Kuffa, one of the top Australian main tank, actually the top Australian main tank, is competing in NA contenders for a while. One of the top tanks there is now in, as this might be a big momentum changer, as now they can mirror the Winston dive. Because we are on Suravasa.
5, 4, 3, 2.
So I would say Varsity will have their work cut out for them, but I think they can handle it, as both teams do sim TP out. It looks like Iowa State is going to take non-coast side. I don't know what to call it. They take the side with, like, closer to most teams take, because Kuffa does kind of leap up to the high ground and just kind of moving up, taking space. Both teams kind of juggling around, looking for an opening to dive in onto the, probably a Sojourn. That's going through. Kuffa kind of and Spike both drop bubbles, kind of stand there staring at each other shooting. As Kuffa is low, and can they get the kill? Suzu does come out from Dr. Death as Kuffa is forced to leap out. Varsity does get first control of point, as now they will start taking up that percentage points, which is really big because of how fast Flashpoint ticks up. Now Kuffa is kind of just standing there, diving in, forces recall, goes back to force Spike out. Spike does kill Vintage, as now they're just going through. Buckethead gets the kill onto Alu, and Spike just keeps pressing it forward, getting the advantage. Goes through, does force Swift step out from
Vintage
Dr.
kills
Death, goes through,
Sam.
and then Vintage does kill Sam. Kuffa jumps out one, but I would say can't get the kill, but they're already at 50% on first point. And they have first ultimate online with that Kitsune Rush. Dr. Death is getting close to it, so we'll probably see more. Rush does come out from Otter, but not before Kuffa falls lift key. As Spike jumps in, kind of just doing damage. Doesn't have primal yet. Kuffa will get that first, goes through. Senior Rush comes out from Dr. Death. Let's go through, runs onto Bucket, can't get the kill. So going through, Spike is one, Otter falls, Spike still one, goes through, can they find a Bucket? Gets booped around, gets a kill. Looks like Spike picked up a Megan, is now on his way out. Sam does get out and does have sound barrier. Kuffa chases and gets Sam. Pulse bomb comes out from lift key, hits nothing, goes through. Kuffa goes, jumps an Otter, forces him out. Spike jumps back to get Kuffa out of there, as then Redbird Academy now fully disengaged, and they have 4 ultimates. They have everything but the Kitsune Rush, and now Alu's still looking around, looking for an opportunity to pulse somebody. The Varsity is still pushing up. No, with full abandon, just kind of going up. Vintage on the high ground with the overclock. Lift key does kill Alu. Primal Rage does come out from Kuffa, just uses that to disengage, as Varsity is just pumping him full of damage. Now going through, shuffle this, boop low, boop down, and Bucket gets a kill. Overclock comes out from both Sojourns. Spike takes a lot of space, uses Bubble to break up choke. Vintage does kill Otter, Spike kills Vintage, and then Sam kills Kuffa. Now Varsity did take control back a point. Now OT Wick is burning out, is trying to do really anything, goes through, and then Lift Key kills him with the Blink melee, and as Iowa State Varsity take control.
Next flashpoint, ruins.
Now we are headed over to the ruins. Iowa State Varsity did hold on, both teams did hold on to that sound barrier. Alu has the pulse bomb, Lift Key's coming up to match it, and Spike has primal advantage. Now we're going through, Spike kind of just clearing out that flank route, but then gets forced out by Alu, who's now just taking control point, crouching there, waiting. Kuffa jumps out just to poke at Spike. Spike jumps in onto Vintage, goes through, forces people out. Alu with the 2-kill pulse bomb. We now just trying to get Dr. Death, jumps through. Dr. just TPs away, and Vintage gets 2 more kills.
I believe Lou got 2 kills on the pulse.
Yep. I guess actually, I don't really know what happened. Might have stuck Bucket mid-slide. Which is really impressive. That's not an easy stick to make. But Iowa State Varsity did hold on to all their ultimates, as now they also have a Kitsune Rush, as they have 4 ultimates, and all Redbird have is the Throne Rush and Sound Barrier. Now Spike kind of walking forward, taking space. They're kind of backing up a bit. Spike does jump in. Kitsune Rush comes out from Otter. Dr. Death mirrors, Pulse Bomb comes out from Lift, gets no value, actually for Suzu, but both beats come out. Sam's was later, Otter does get the kill into Kuffa. As Spike jumps in, gets low, Primal is forced, starts primaling Vintage, goes through, Vintage does slide into Iowa State Varsity and does die. That was a very expensive fight from Iowa State Varsity. They did dump all of their ults. Now Redbird Academy's coming up on Overclock. Vintage is about 20% ahead of Bucket, but that's just like 1 Soj rail.
Kuffa almost has primal.
And Kuffa does have primal. There's
And
no
I think
way
Alu
Spike
can
knows.
get beat at pulse.
Yep. Now Spike kind of just jumping through, chasing Kuffa. Kuffa does pop primal. Spike is low. Vintage does get that kill and has the overclock. Kuffa still swinging around. Going through, Vintage with the kill onto Otter. Still holding onto the overclock. And then Kuffa doing a great job juggling Buckethead around and getting that kill as Alu cleans that up, gets Sam, and then Vintage with another kill on the lift. Now we are headed into the last fight for this point. As we'll see if Iowa State Varsity looks like they are positioning to take this fight, as they do have Pulse Bomb.
And we can work on Overclock.
And they have Overclock as Sam is set up to trigger OT, but then Alu gets a kill onto Spike, and they force Overclock from Vintage as he gets a kill onto Bucket. Just take control of point here, but then they're just going to die because there's no way they win this fight. Down Spike and Bucket. As they kind of back out, overtime is triggered again. As Sam goes back through, triggers it. As if he kind of taking the Tracer duel. Dr. Death does kill Sam. He's still kind of juggling around. Forces recall from Alu as Kuffa does kill Spike. And Kuffa's catching up on Primal Ult Charge again. As Dr. Death does kill too. And now we are headed over to Palace. As both teams still running no hero swaps. Iowa State Varsity does have an ult advantage here, as they do have Overclock, but Shuffle almost has that sound barrier, and Sam was only at 60%. We will need to see Iowa State Varsity hit the Ghost Switch really quickly here before Shuffle can build that sound barrier. Kind of going through. Bucket pops Overclock, then gets boot, and then just doesn't get anything with it, but does get out both support ults from Redbird Academy. As in Alu and Kuffa just clean up. Because all that's left is just a lift key.
Bucket goes Echo.
Oh, I don't know if I've seen the Buckethead Echo before. That is an interesting swap, but we are headed towards maps that have a lot more room for Echo to operate. But normally, since lift key doesn't have pulse, I would expect to see lift key run the Echo and Bucket on the Tracer. No, in their hero pose, maybe Bucket has a cracked out Echo. Going through taking high ground. Now they have an even bigger, now I see has a massive ult advantage as they have Gleams of Primal, but they have both support ults. As Alu does kill Lift, but Otter evens it out. Discover kind of goes through, pops Primal. Just kind of looking for anybody to swing on as Otter does pop the Continue Rush. Bucket kills Vintage. As Otter's just trying to stay alive through the Primal. Successfully does. TP's out. Kuffa is low. Dr. Death is going to do his best to heal him up. Cannot do it as Otter gets that kill. As Spike now just chases down Dr. Death. Going through, Lift Key does kill Shuffle as Sam kills Death. And now we are, I would say, does get control of point before Redbird can get to 90%. And now, I mean, ultimates, it should be like a relatively dry fight. Like, we only have, I would say it only has Primal and Beat, and Redbird Academy only has Pulse Bomb and Overclock. Buckethead is getting close to duplicate. Pulse does come out from Alu, does not connect. As Sam just crashed in the corner, boops Alu into the air, and then Buckethead finishes him off with the focusing beam. Spike does pop Primal. Doesn't do much of the kind, just zones people out. Now going through, I would say now it does have a duplicate. Buckethead is low, but does fly away, gets healed up by Otter. They held on the sound bear, and Lift Key coming up on his own Pulse Bomb. Hasn't had much value with him this map, but anything can change. Goes through, Vintage kind of poking through. Dr. Death does pop the early Katsuni Rush. Buckethead does get low. Copies Tracer. Beat comes out from Sam. You have to get this kill on Vintage quickly before Shuffle builds his own beat. They do get the kill on Vintage and Dr. Death. Otter's Katsuni Rush comes out. But Shuffle and Kuffa just get two more. Kuffa pops Primal, kills Otter. All that's left is just Bucket and Spike. Kuffa does successfully get Buckethead and just starts primaling Spike around. And then I'll just get the kill. Sam comes back, gets booped away, and cannot touch, and then just dies.
Flashpoint Garden.
Now we are headed over to Gardens as everybody, as I would say, Varsity is rolling out, and now they don't really have any ultimates. I mean, neither does Redbird. They have Pulse Bomb, but Otter has Suzu. And Spike is coming up on a Primal of his own. Shuffle does get low due to Echo Sticky Bombs, but then just gets healed up really quick. They're kind of juggling around, looking for opportunities. Pulse Bomb blinks in, still shooting around. I always say pull the trigger on their own dive, though, so they just jump in. Pulse Bomb connects onto Spike and kills him before he can build Primal. Redbird Academy should win this fight, especially as Shuffle did get that kill into Bucket. Alu then cleans up Otter, who is low. As Redbird Academy does get first point. Alright, so now Iowa State Varsity kind of just looking for a way to dive in. They do have Primal now. Redbird Academies, now they don't have any ults. LFK is coming up on a Pulse Bomb of his own. Now they're just juggling around, waiting to go in. So just going in. Spike is sitting there waiting. Uses bubble early, but still not jumping in. Jumps in now. Goes through. Kuffa kind of tries to stop the dive. Spike pops Primal. Kind of looking for Vintage. Goes through. Vintage does get healed up. It's forced out. Goes Spike, so going through. Their Dr. kind of healing him up. Buckethead does finally get the kill onto Vintage, but Dr. Death has Senior Rush, pops Senior Rush onto point. Alu with the kill onto Lift. Dr. Death has the TP back on to avoid getting booped off. Shuffle pops Sound Barrier.
Lucas, Lucky and Sam, and Otto.
Yep. Now they're just kind of going through, finally cleaning everybody up. But because Iowa State Varsity got control of point, they got 40% and stopped Redbird Academy from winning the map. Redbird Academy, they do have every non-support ult this fight, but I would say can counter with 2 support ults of their own, and Buckethead almost has that overclock. If he builds that and just gets a quick pick, I would say Varsity might be able to take this fight, as they do force Kuffa low, trying to force that Primal out early, but Kuffa does not pop it. Tracer Duel happens below the fight. Vintage pops overclock, but Iowa State used both support ults as they go in. Kuffa Primals, tries to knock Spike off the edge, but cannot do it. Now one on top of Buckethead. Buckethead slides out. He gets help from his team as everyone just blows up Kuffa and as they keep that overtime wick burning.
Good Sam.
Good Sam, but now Buckethead almost has the overclock. Ooh, but down Winston, that's not a good sign. As goes through, pops the overclock as Duck kills Otter. Bucket and Lift have to go big, gets one, and cannot kill everybody else. As that is a map win for Redbird Academy. It looks like Kuffa was the shot in the arm they needed, as that was a very quick 3-1.
You were right, it was 3-1, just the other way around.
Yep. So we are heading over to map 4 now. This looks like that break that Redbird Academy called for was necessary, as we saw a nice 2K Pulse Bomb there. Riley's just finally cleaning everybody up. As now we are headed over to push, and Iowa State gets to pick the map. Yeah, here we are headed over to push here soon. Their options for that are Esperanza, New Queen Street, and Coliseo. Interesting to see what Iowa State Varsity picks here, because, I mean, with Kuffa in the lineup now for Redbird Academy, that just gives them the Winston player they need to take the Winston mirror, and so they might not even want to go to Esperanza, which is the best dive map out of the 3. But we will see. Because again, all Iowa State Varsity need to do is win one more map. And I mean, they get to pick the next 2 maps guaranteed, because they either win and it's over, or they lose and they get to pick at map 5. So Iowa State Varsity is definitely in the driver's seat right now. It looks like this match is definitely I mean, out of the 2 matches we've casted so far, this one is definitely my favorite. Where it is much closer, as both teams have successfully taken a map. Though to be fair, if this was best of 3 hours, say Varsity would have won already. Yes, we'll see if we can get this match finished casted before the rainbow match that should be starting soon. As our rainbow casters do look like they're a little bit mission. Looks like outscore map 4 and push map 5. So we're headed over to Junkertown. I think it's a good map pick for the side of Iowa State, as this does have long sight lines, which does allow them to just play slower.
What do you think you want to see in Junkertown?
Widow.
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 Buckethead Widow.
Buckethead Widow. Maybe Surge, but probably Widow, especially on the first point. Yep.
I think I saw Torb. Yep, Lift Torb.
I don't think we'll see Lift. I don't think we'll see Torb gameplay.
No, not Torb.
No Torb. Looks like we are going to see Bapsana come out on the side. I would say looks like they're going to be playing traditional Sig double sniper. We will almost definitely see Lift Key swap over to the Hanzo. Just because Sonic Arrow is such a valuable ability. Looks like Vintage is going to take the Widow Mirror. Alu is on Tracer. So we might see Lift Key on Tracer just to corral that. Let's cuff a... Ooh, Orisa gameplay. Yep, looks like Lift Key is going to be playing the Tracer just to stop Alu from running everybody down. As Shuffle is going to be playing Brig.
Yep, Hanzo.
Yep, just quick Hanzo Sonic Arrow. Make sure no one's hiding in that building. As now we just wait for Widows to do something. Buckethead goes for the grapple shot, does not connect. And just still going through, rotating around, waiting. As Spike Bush does some nice route taking, as just takes the high ground and starts forcing Redbird Academy back, as setting up sightlines for their own Widow. Has to contend with Buckethead, who now goes through, misses the shot onto Alu, but is now standing on a rock, just shooting down. Now going through, nice Tracer duel taking place, but Lipkey does have quite a bit of help, as now we are seeing Brig try and walk on Spike, stop him from taking that angle onto the backline, but just forgets about him as Vintage gets a pick onto Otter, and Alu gets another pick onto Sam, as now Vintage going through, looking for Bucket, or really anybody, just to take a shot at Buckethead. Does kill Alu, as Kuffa's now just standing there. Kind of just standing through, looking for that pick. Who kind of knows where Vintage is. Maybe. Yep. Vintage is hiding out in the building, as Buckethead does take the flanker out, goes through, tries to do a grapple shot, but misses a few times. Goes through, but Vintage probably saw the grapple and went up and grapple shot of his own and got the kill. Goes to Sam kind of poking out, trying to build that Transcendence. Goes through, Lamp comes out from Otter just to keep Spike alive. Spike uses Kinetic Grasp. Post Bomb does come out from Alan, connecting onto Sam and killing him because Immortality Field was already used. As Vintage does have sights and Buckethead's only at 60%. So now we're going through, we're taking this fight. Or no, we're just holding the sight line. Because he just kind of starts chunking down Kuffa, but then just everyone backs off. As Vintage gets another kill onto Bucket. Is so far dominating the Widow duels. Is now just going through. So Silence has not popped that info sight yet. You might see that soon, as Kuffa is getting close to Terror Surge, but Spike already has that Graphitic Flux. Is now just going through, poking people out. Kind of keeping track of Vintage. Vintage is one, but goes through, grabs Mini. Oh, Bucket barely misses the shot. And then falls to Vintage again. Windows come out from both Baptiste. Spike goes to flex it, but Kuffa successfully stuns him out as Vintage gets a pick onto Otter. And now we're just going through as Kuffa is just cleaning up everybody. Vintage, actually, no, it's Vintage cleaning him up.
Sam
Oh,
gets
for
sucked to
grapple
death.
shot. Walls come out from both Widows. As Ali with the kill onto Sam, but Sam killing Dr. Death. So now there's not really much to stain inside Redbird Academy. Vintage misses the shots on Otter walking across the sight line. As sights run out from both sides. And they're still perched on the high ground. To see if Buckethead can even up the duel at any point. Spike did swap over to the Winston just to get that speed, more kind of way to reposition. Rally comes out from Shuffle as Iris and Varsity kind of back out a bit. This Buckethead still looking for the shot, not seeing anybody. As Sam is just walking up, did use the Transcendence there. Now Vintage taking the sight line, going through. Alu wrapping around, does have Pulse Bomb, but Lift is coming up. Gets on top of Buckethead, but it gets forced out. Pulse is a Winston barrier. Going through Spike, sticks Kuffa, does get the kill, and uses Recall to dodge his own Pulse. Goes through Kuffa is though, did grab Mini, but it might be too much. Vintage does kill both supports. As Lift gets back just in time, as now Buckethead is one, does have to grab Mini. Vintage does kill Lift now. And then Alu kills Bucket. And then Spike, and Vintage kills Sam. And so far, it looks like Vintage is easily winning the Widow Mirror, and it's just enough for Redbird to win, as Buckethead didn't really do a lot that game, or at least that round. And if I was to say when I have a chance at winning this, I need to see more from him. Everybody does.
Yeah, didn't get pushed that much. It was rough. Now,
Yeah.
also just need to hold them.
Yeah, 'cause right now, yeah, we need to see more from Bucket, and by more from him, I mean him on the left side of the kill feed, not the right. Still going through. Need a quick mental reset side of Iowa State because they did play fairly sloppy there, so hopefully we see him clean that up. So now we're going through. We are seeing Kuffa on the Mauga for now.
Mauga.
Mauga. But he's still in the spawn room, so he can change at any point. Looks like we are seeing Spike run the Sigma, and Otter is going over to the Kiriko, which is a much more comfortable pick for him than the Baptiste. Sam has yet to select a hero. Looks like we're gonna run Winston, Fury, Lucio. This Kuffa is still on the Mauga. Which, I mean, if Spike does roll out on the Winston, that Mauga pick is, actually pretty good. Oh, Bucket isn't even at 1k damage. Oh no. But we believe in him. He can do it. I mean, they have a Mauga. Just like headshot the Mauga once or twice. As both Widows taking sight lines. Looks like Kuffa is rolling out on the Mauga, which means Spike is not going to really do much. As Alu is on the Sim just to provide a ton of damage. Add mobility with that TP as they do force Spike out. Both Widows still on the prowl, waiting for anybody to dare enter their line of sight. Kuffa does successfully stomp to kill Otter. And Buckethead gets the kill onto Shuffle. Let's go through and Kuffa stomp Spike. This Buckethead is just taking pot shots right now, and Vintage
Bucket
wins the Widow duel once again as Dr. Death gets 2, and this is a very, very quick map win for Redbird Academy, as now we're headed over to push map 5. For Super Potential, looks like we are going to enter a quick break. And Buckethead hit 1k damage. Let's go. It just took... I mean, you know what? It's not about the duration. Like, it's the quality. His 1k damage, that was some high quality damage right there. And you know what they say, quality over quantity. We are going to head to a quick break here. Alright, welcome back. Looks like we are headed over to Esperanza. And now we will probably see Winston dive again from both teams. That tends to be very common on this map, just do all the high ground around center. And you tend to build your comms for push around the mid because of that's the most common place for fights. See what both teams roll out on here. Yep, a Winston dive from both teams. Looks like I would say Varsity will sim TP out from spawn just to get better positioning. And then we'll stand on high grounds because no one wants to push into a surge set up on high ground. We are off.
Objective unlocks in 30 seconds.
Let's talk about Tracer. So Lift will be behind on his angle a bit, but the rest of Iowa State Varsity will be fully set up and ready to go first. Now they are all up there as both teams are just juggling around the center point, waiting. Kuffa does wrap around to the right to take an angle, and then Spike, once playing Ring Around the Rosie, and goes there as Kuffa backs off. As both soldiers are just poking. Looks like right now, Redbird Academy does push the bot a bit, backs off, and Iowa State pushes it back towards a bit past center, but not to the barricade yet. Vintage does have the rail, does connect the body shot to somebody, but doesn't get a kill. As Kuffa does get low and just jumps out, and gets healed. And now we're just sitting here shooting. Iowa State Varsity does have the lead by a whole 1.15 meters and counting. As Spike goes through, has to jump out, and now both teams reset as it looks like Leftkey is pushing the cart a bit. And now they have a whole 7 meters as Kuffa does jump on top of Sam and then finds Leftkey. As Spike does take space though, wait to get healed up. Can he get healed up in time? He's won, as Alu is hunting anybody right now. Looks like Spike does get out, slowly getting healed up by Otter. Buckethead does fall though. Now they're going through. Shuffle finally kills Spike.
Alu.
Yep, Kuffa kills Otter and Sam. Because Kuffa already has the Primal Rage. And Vintage is 30% ahead of Bucket in terms of O-Charge. And, I mean, Alu's way behind in Pulse Bombs. That's because he already used his. Because now Otter does, both Kiris do have their own Kitsune rushes. And both Lucios are, I mean, fairly even with their sound barriers. Murphy is coming up on that Pulse Bomb. Otter does TP in, then drops the Kitsune rush back a point. Alu does get the kill onto Bucket. As now Otter doing his best to keep Spike alive. Kuffa does Primal Sam to Oblivion. And then Vintage is just now free firing from high grounds. As Redbird Academy continues pushing the bot. We might even see them get butt scratch mode here, which is really big for Redbird, as you only need, bot only needs to scratch its butt once per side. As they successfully get it. Now going through. Spike kind of dancing around the corner, seeing opportunity. Vintage is set up really far back on the high ground. That's not fun for Spike to deal with. As he's just going through Dr. Death, healing everybody, keeping them alive. They're going through. Looks like Iowa Varsity is wrapping around. But they just kind of TP out. Still has the Kitsune Rush. We might see him use it here. Kind of goes through, pops it as Kuffa. Actually, both Kiris fall. Spike pops the Primal Rage. Liftkey sticks Kuffa with Pulse Bomb, gets the kill. And now Vintage does kill Liftkey, but he's just getting juggled by Spike. Sound Barrier does come out from Shuffle just to keep the fight going, and Vintage uses that extra life to kill Sam. And then Spike. But Liftkey's taking bot. Or at least, sorry, Buckethead's taking bot. Normally that's a Tracer, just pushing it back to mid and removing the forward spawns from Redbird Academy and giving Iowa State Varsity time to respawn, regroup, and get back in the fight. That's a great heads-up play by Bucket. Really shows that he is a student of the game. We were just taking bot, just stopping Redbird Academy from increasing their lead. Like, now they only got, what, an extra meter instead of an extra 20? really big for Iowa State, as now it's like they never even took that fight at all. All they lost was time. The recall is forced from Lifkey. As Kuffa is building up to the primal, both soldiers do have the overclock, but Sam does have a big beat advantage. Pop speed to deal with Vintage's overclock. As they can just kite it, Spike does fall low. Can they get the kill? They do not yet, as Vintage does have the rails, but Spike jumps through. Still has not died. Kuffa primals, killing 2, and then jumps onto Bucket, who is using his overclock right now. And Kuffa should clean up this kill. He does. Nice Winston tech there, because when primal ends, a little tip for you, any you Winston heads out there, is your cooldowns do reset, so you can chain 2 jumps together. As Redbird Academy just continues increasing their lead, as it appears Kuffa has hit his stride, as he's just getting so much value with everything he does. Now they're just going through and they're just dancing around the corner. Alu does actually loses pulse bomb to Sam. Never even leaves his hand. As Otter does pop Katsuni Rush just to force Redbird Academy back. As they successfully kite that. Going through, just slowly pushing the bot back to mid. As Lifkey has a pulse bomb of his own. Spike has primal. Dr. Death builds a Katsuni Rush. Spike pops a primal. Juggles Dr. Death, killing him. Now looking for Shuffle, primals him. Doesn't get the kill, but Lifkey, in all the chaos, Lifkey does kill Kuffa as Alu evens it out, killing Spike. As Buckethead is 1, but gets healed up. As Iowa State's still pushing the bot, trying to close the gap. As Buckethead is still kind of dancing around on high ground. Trying to build a rail, get a quick shot. Katsuni Rush does come out from Dr. Death as he's just doing everything to keep everybody alive. Iowa State Varsity just kites back, but they do lose Sam in the process. Buckethead evens it out by killing Kuffa. Otter does fall low, and with no Lucio will be wild to get healed up, and it appears his healing will come from the spawn room as Vintage takes him down. Boop comes out from Shuffle to mess up Spike's jump. The Shuffle does fall low, but just falls back. Amp seals as it does. New Pulse Bomb does come out from Alu, causing Spike to have to leave the bubble and die to Shuffle. Going through, Sam does even it out a bit by killing Alu. Now just runs back, regroups with his team. Goes through Buckethead, still kind of dancing around, shooting. Both soldiers with their overclocks, but Kuffa does have Primal Rage, and that can mess up Bucket's own OCs.
Redbird has full ults, and
yep. Dr. definitely opening pick on Otter. Buckethead pops overclock, just trying to even it up. Kuffa does pop Primal, is already low, has to jump out. And it successfully zones him out. Gives him time for Otter to get back before taking the fight, and now Sam has to build up this sound barrier so they can exist during Vintage's own overclocks. Now they're going through. Bot is forced to as Redbird Academy is now back to increasing their lead. As Lifkey's kind of taking the Tracer duel, recalls force from both Tracers as Alu just pieces out as he is in the middle of Iowa State. Now going through, a Pulse Bomb comes out from Lift, doesn't find anything. Buckethead with the kill onto Alu. And now all 4 support ults will be online for this fight. As Spike is close to prime of his own. Overclock comes out from Vintage, beat comes out from Sam. Shuffle holds on to his own beat, and Spike kills 2 because of it. Slight misplay from Shuffle, but maybe they're just holding on to beat for last fight, as Iowa State needs to win about 3 fights here just to tie it up. As it looks like they will get checkpoint here, maybe, unless Alu decides to contest this. As now we're just kind of going through, waiting. I don't think they know Alu's there. Singing Rush comes out from Otter. On the card, looks like they did not get butt scratch mode yet. But Spike does kill Vintage. It's a little revenge there. As now just going through, kind of dancing around. And there's butt scratch mode. As now Spike is in. And still has Primal, has not used that yet. Shuffle holding on to this sound barrier. Dr. Death has yet to use Katsuni Rush, and now I would say Varsity is just pushing the bot as far as possible. Alu taking the Tracer duel, forcing Lifkey off bot, pushing it back a bit, as I would say falls back. They only have Primal here unless they can build an overclock and pulse bomb.
Redbird has like 3.
3 ults, and with how Cuff has been playing, he should be able to build Primal. Lift Key almost has that pulse bomb. Like, I just need to like maybe 2 rails to get that overclock. But there's no shot we see a sound barrier this fight, or this round, from Sam. Now Vintage has the rail looking. Ali with the opening pick onto Otter, it's not looking good for Iowa State, as that's their main source of healing. Go through, Spike has to leave, he's forced out low, you'll probably see a Primal from him here. Nope, he successfully gets out. Lift Key saves the Mega form. It grabs that. Now we're headed into the last fight as Redbird Academy's just going to push the bot as far as possible. Lift Key does go through, does trigger OT, misses the pulse bomb, but does successfully zone Lucio into Spike, and then Lift cleans it up. He does have pulse bomb of his own. Kitsune Rush comes out from Dr. Death, but it's nowhere near Cart, as Kuffa does pop the Primal and starts batting people around. Goes through, finds Bucket. Bucket does slide out with the overclock. They have to help him, gets the kill. And Bucket will not... Actually, no. Kuffa kills Otter, and then Alu kills Bucket right after he pops OC. Sam... Can Sam build beat in time as Spike pops Primal just to stay alive? Goes through, Sam trying his hardest to build beat. He does. It goes off, hits all 3 members of Iowa State that are alive. Bucket swaps the Sombra for the touch. Spike does kill Spike as Vintage's overclock is still going. Uses that final rail to kill Sam. Through, Buckethead is back on the Sombra, but it might be a little too late. Kitsune Rush does come out from Otter, but as Kuffa kills 2 out of the 3 remaining, and then Vintage finishes it off by killing Lift Key. Great reverse sweep from Redbird Academy, as again appears Kuffa was definitely the shot in the arm they needed. As getting one of the premier tank players in the world is, I mean, it's going to help any team out. As now Iowa State Varsity does get sent down to the lower bracket, and Redbird Academy just continues on. All they need, there's just one Iowa State team remaining, but either Goober Incorporated needs to go on a hell of a lower bracket run, or a team needs to knock down Redbird Academy if Redbirds wants to complete the gauntlet of Iowa State teams.
Good swap.
Yeah, that is it for our Overwatch section here. Now we will hand things over to the Rainbow Six team.